We are now live.
I'm reloading the page.
Sounds good.
Live. Funny pecs.
Did not change the title. Is this title changed or is it?
Yup, I'm gooning to.
All right. Okay, are you ready? Are you all seen and whatnot?
I see. Yep.
Sweet. We're gonna change this
No,
quality.
hey, I'm in the corner.
Yes, you are. You are indeed in the corner. All right.
Eh.
Hi guys. My name is Jackson. Today we're watching a video from Key about like the child who grew up too young, or like matured too young. I think this really resonates with me. And I try my friend Lawrence along because great guy and he always has some good commentary. Lawrence, do you mind
Uh,
introducing yourself?
yeah. Hello. My name is Lawrence. I am a good friend of Jackson, and in my free time, I like to play tennis and play chess.
You want to tell us what you're filming yourself on?
I am filming myself on an Xbox 360 Kinect
And I'm currently filming
device,
myself on my
and
phone.
yeah, neither of us have a traditional webcam.
Not yet.
Fun devices.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get started here in about 5 seconds. I just want to say welcome to the channel. It's your first video. We will be editing this, so if you're just seeing this live, totally fine. We'll edit this down and stuff. So yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's start watching. Also, Lawrence, at any point, feel me to pause. Just tell me to pause it, and I can rewind it to any point you need.
Yeah.
It starts quietly. No one notices at first. You're 7 years old, staring into the eyes of a parent who is falling apart. Maybe it's addiction. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's just the hollow silence of someone too.
All right, so I'm pause that for a second. I'm just
Yep.
throw it out there. For me, what it was for me at least was a lot of addiction and just this last one, too broken and show up without words, especially after my parents' divorce. I was not 7. I was closer to like 10, but just want to throw that out there for anybody.
Still resonates with you no matter how old you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Too broken to show up. And without words, something ancient clicks in your small mind. If I don't hold everything together, no one will.
Pause.
These are
So
those damn survival instincts that we could lose.
yeah, so if I don't hold this together, no one will is probably a great way to phrase this. So I grew up with a twin in the house, so this is slightly different for me because I have some for if someone's an only child, this is a very easy stance to take. This is just a great overall statement to say. This is a very powerful introduction.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, it's really just it's one of those old ancient things that will protect us.
Yeah.
Right? It's like one of our instincts, but we don't always need it. But in this case, it's a negative.
Yeah.
Good to play it again?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
This is how a child disappears. Not physically, but psychologically. They smile more, they cry less. They learn to read the room before they speak. They become the emotional thermostat of the household. They become small adults long before their minds are ready, and the world praises them for it. You're so mature. You're so responsible. You're so strong. But no one
Pause.
ever stops to ask.
So to be honest, this is not exactly something I can major
Sorry,
problem in this case. Yeah, sorry. Do you want me to redo that?
Yes, please.
All right. So this is not something that I consider as a major problem, I would say. At some point, everybody grows, and obviously, if you mature faster, then to be honest, no matter the reason, it's typically a good thing. Obviously, if no one ever stops to ask, like how you're doing, it's not a bad thing. But this isn't necessarily that I agree with here.
Yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from. I mean, I understand like the growing up fast is okay, but I want to you also need to live as a child a little bit. So if you're like, as this video is talking, like the age 7, 8, 9, that kind of area, like you're still too
Okay.
young to be thinking like an adult. At least that's the
Okay,
perspective
that
I'm taking on it.
okay, that's fair. That's good. That is a fair point to make. I'd say if you're that young, then yeah, that's much.
Because I mean, everybody wants to be a child. I mean, even once you're older, you're like, I want to be young again.
Yeah.
Am I good to resume?
Yeah.
At what cost? This is the invisible grief of those who grew up too fast. And today we're going deep inside the psychology of that child. because the effects don't vanish with age. They shape you. They follow you into relationships, careers, your sense of worth. And if you don't understand what happened, you'll spend your adult life repeating the survival patterns that once saved you, but are now slowly killing you. Let's start with what's really happening developmentally. When children are forced to emotionally support adults instead of the other way around, psychologists call this parentification. It's when a child becomes the caregiver, the peacekeeper, the therapist, the protector. This isn't just unhealthy, it rewires the brain, because when a child is consistently put in charge of emotional regulation, either their own or others, it creates something called hypervigilance. You're always scanning for danger.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause it for a second there.
You're good.
I mean, I definitely see this like pretty consistently in my life, honestly. Like even the other day, someone slammed a door in my house. We live in a decent sized house, so it's like you can't. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so someone slammed a door. Maybe somebody fell or something like that. But in my brain, it didn't register someone had slammed a door. So I'm like, hey Grace, are you okay? That's my little sister's name, by the way. I was worried she'd fallen down the stairs or something like that, or maybe my mom had fallen. We had guests over, so I was worried it was maybe my mom's friend who was pregnant who had fallen or something like that. And I was really worried. But after thinking about it for a couple of seconds, like it's nothing. I just really overreacted, and I just need to take a deep breath and think about the other possibilities before I jump ahead and get hypervigilant, as I said. You got anything to say, Lawrence?
Uh, yeah, I don't think it touches on this right. Even putting a child in charge.
Sorry, you broke up there. One sec.
Sorry,
Okay, you're good.
you're good. Uh, yeah, even if a child is, even if they're in charge of even just more than their emotions, they're other people's emotions too. This could also unintentionally be dangerous, especially if they are that young, 7 years old, because they barely know what they're doing, let alone how to manage other people. So if they do something incorrectly, it could end up causing a few issues.
Yeah, and in my experience, it definitely causes more harm than good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
start the video now.
Go
You
ahead.
walk on eggshells. You learn that love is a transaction. You give peace, and maybe they'll give you safety. You learn that your needs are dangerous, and theirs are urgent. So you disappear, not physically, but emotionally. And in your place grows a version of you that performs well. You become the good child, the quiet achiever, the therapist friend, the one who never asks for anything. And you wear that identity so convincingly that even you forget it's a mask. But deep down, something hurts. Something aches, because the inner child you buried didn't die. They're still in there screaming silently, "Why didn't anyone protect me?"
Pause. So I don't necessarily know that the inner child was buried. I think he says it better earlier on, later on in the video, I believe. It's not necessarily a burial, cover up, like a mask of some sort, or like
Yeah.
a disguise. Like it's not necessarily buried. It's always still there, but it's not. It's being hidden. It's not being like put away and locked up for good. It's being covered because it needs to be like it can come out at times, but for the majority it needs to be hidden. So
Yeah.
it's definitely more of a mask, not necessarily a burial.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, in my mind, it's kind of like a identity crisis kind of thing, right? Like when you're around, it's like a changing your identity. Like when you're around certain people, you act a certain way, kind of thing. Like I know
Yeah,
for me, like when I'm really comfortable, like around my family, my mom, my sister, like I act more childish because that's who I'm comfortable around, right?
of
I guess
course,
it's just a
everybody
normal
does.
thing. So yeah, it's just kind of like that, I guess. But this like inner child thing, like it just never comes out because you've never felt safe to do it.
Yeah.
As you grow older, the symptoms become more complex. You might become hyper-independent. You refuse help, push people away, or never feel truly safe in love. You might feel numb during happy moments, because joy feels unfamiliar, unearned, even dangerous. You might struggle to rest because productivity is the only way you've ever felt worthy. And worst of all, you might not even realize you're still stuck in survival mode. Because when dysfunction is normalized early, your nervous system accepts chaos as baseline. Stillness feels wrong. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels like a debt you'll have to repay. This is the psychology of a child forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness. It's a complex trauma that reshapes how you view the world, and more importantly, yourself. Now, you may ask, why would any child willingly take on that role? Because children will do anything for attachment, even
Also,
abandon.
so I think this isn't really as much of a willing as it is. It's kind of really the only choice that they have.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in a situation where the parent unable to care for themselves emotionally, then the child has no choice but to care for themselves because care for themselves and the parent. Because the other alternative is the parent starts, well, going down a rabbit hole of possibly drinking, possibly abuse. They don't really have another choice. They kind of have to like take on that role, hide, like put on the mask and hide their true feelings. So it's not. It's as it says in the video pause here. The choice is never conscious. This isn't really something that they have a choice. So, yeah, this is not really a choice. This is kind of immediately forced. So
Yeah.
that's just a small gripe I have.
I'd say it's like a fight or fight response almost. Like you see someone that you really care about struggling and you want to help. That's what I
Yeah,
kind of associate that with.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Abandon themselves. The choice is never conscious, it's biological. In the absence of safety, the child sacrifices authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness, that's intelligence, that's instinct. But the tragedy is this: what saved you then imprisons you now. So many of us are walking around as high-functioning adults, with deeply neglected inner children pulling the strings. We overachieve to earn love. We stay silent to avoid abandonment. We take care of everyone, but secretly wish someone would just ask if we're okay. And that fantasy, that someone will notice you're not as strong as you pretend to be,
That fantasy never happens. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You've got to ask for help. It's easily one of the hardest things you're gonna do in your life. Everybody's always gonna say it's a weakness, being having to ask for help and whatnot. It is one of the most strong and important things you can do. Ever. It could change someone's life completely. I'm just throwing that out there now. And never be afraid to ask if someone's doing okay. Like it's almost never taken as negative.
that maybe, just maybe, you'll finally get to fall apart and be held. That is the unmet need, not of your adult self, but of the child who never got to be a child. The first step to healing isn't fixing, it's witnessing. Because until you validate what happened, you'll keep gaslighting yourself with thoughts like, it wasn't that bad. Other people had it worse. I turned out fine. But fine is a mask too, and deep down you know it. So what happens to that child? When they grow up, they become adults who never feel safe, even in calm rooms. They become lovers who can't trust softness. They become givers who can't receive. They become the kind of people who apologize for crying, flinch at compliments, and confuse exhaustion with success. This is the cost of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood trained you to be strong at the expense of being soft, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix others while ignoring your own fractures, then what kind of adulthood do you inherit? You inherit a
Awesome.
life where
So this is actually something that I've seen a bit more in my culture. One thing I've seen quite a lot, some people being saying like, "Oh yeah, be a man, suck it up," and stuff like that. And a few of the quotes in there be very similar to stuff that I'd say people about during Men's Mental Health Month.
Yes.
When people say like, "Just stay quiet," you can fix yourself by fixing others. And a lot of people just like hide your own insecurities. Just be a man. And this is extreme. This is absolutely something you should not do. If you are a guy, and I'm a big men's mental health month guy. If you are a guy, ignore every single one of those comments. Say what you need to say. If you feel like you need help, please get help. Like it doesn't have to be like a therapist. Just literally anybody. For all I care, you could go down to the grocery and talk to an absolute stranger about your problems. Because if you don't trust anybody else in your family, you just get help any way you need it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, Lawrence and my other friend Ben have saved my life multiple times without them even knowing it. I mean, it's insane. Like, you just need to ask for the help, and like, no matter what people say, it's always like, you're not weak. You just gotta believe in yourself, and you have to actually put in the steps. That's the first step to healing is putting in the work.
you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone to give you permission to finally fall apart. But here's the truth. No one's coming to rescue the child you buried. You are the one who must go back and hold their hand. You are the one who must say what no one else ever said. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child. You get to rest now. This is the beginning of shadow work. Not fixing, not performing, not bypassing the pain with fake positivity, but turning toward the abandoned parts of yourself and saying, I see you now, I hear you now, and I'm not leaving. That is the reparenting process, and it's brutal because it asks you to feel the grief you never had time to feel. It asks you to sit with the rage, the sorrow, the unmet needs, to weep for the birthdays where no one showed up, to mourn the innocence you lost while protecting people who should have protected you. But that grief, it's not weakness. It's proof that you're healing.
I just want to throw it out there. Some of these AI images are pretty funny. Just saying, some of those are pretty bad. Just to lighten the mood a little bit, but let's continue.
Because what was once frozen is finally thawing. Now let's talk about how this survival pattern shows up in adulthood, subtly, tragically, and often invisibly. You might become a therapist in all your friendships, but never let anyone truly see you. You might be praised for your independence, when deep down you're terrified of being a burden. You might be in relationships where you overfunction.
I just want to throw it out there. I think everybody is afraid of being a burden to an extent. I mean, I'm not going to just speak for everybody else, but I know for myself personally, I've gone through a lot of things in my life, but even now, it's like when I'm feeling suicidal or I really need help, I'm afraid that I'm going to be an issue for someone else. Like last night, I couldn't sleep. I was feeling so depressed. I was scared to come wake my mom up because I was worried that she wasn't going to get a good night's sleep. That's a perfect example of being afraid to be a burden. I don't
A
know
little
if you
bit
have any
less
other
here.
examples of that.
Yeah, a little bit less here. I never really had serious mental health problems. Had rough patches, but nothing as severe as what Jackson has gone through. But I definitely also feel, to a slightly lesser extent, I also feel like a burden sometimes if I need help, like a homework assignment or something, or if I just want to say like, or if somebody's asking me to like get on the game, to play with them. Sometimes I feel like I just don't want to do it because, well, I don't want to like bother them. I don't want to like break them out of their way to go help me do my homework, or I don't want to like lower them because I'm not very good at the game that I and it's just all unnecessary. If they're asking you to do something or if you're asking for something, then they're probably going to say yes or they want you there in the first place. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely true. I mean, in my mind, it's just it's better safe than sorry. And most people, if they really care about you, they will want you there. Like they don't care how much you impact them, like in a negative way, because they only really care about the positives of you and they want to see the true you.
Yeah.
Always fixing, managing, over-explaining, and wondering why you feel resentful. You might struggle with boundaries because saying no still feels like betrayal. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies, learned, conditioned, and, the good news, unlearnable. But only when you stop idolizing your strength and start honoring your wounds. One of the most powerful things you can do is ask your inner child, what did I need back then that I never got? You may hear answers like, I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my fault. I needed someone to ask how I was doing. I needed to play, rest, laugh, without fear. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself. Not to fix your past, but to stop reliving it.
This is probably by far the hardest part. From my perspective, this is probably going to be the hardest part. You need to, in order to actually move on, you need to figure out what you need and then just, how do I say this? You need to figure out what you need and then figure out how to implement it in a way that does not cause like destruction. So like obviously you need play, you need rest. But if you're gonna be sleeping for like 23 hours a day, that could be destructive because then you're left alone with your own thoughts for too long, and that could end up causing other problems. Like if once again you might start thinking this is unproductive, I'm wasting my time, and pretty soon you're gonna be in a worse off situation than where you started with. So you got to figure out like where is the balance? What can I do to make sure that I feel healthy where I want to be without going too far and falling back in the rabbit hole?
I really like the word you used there, Lawrence, healthy. I think it's really important to find a healthy balance, like kind of like any diet, right? You don't want too much meat, you don't want too much cheese, you don't want too much any of that stuff. You want it to be even, but just enough to where you're still getting what you're eating and what you enjoy, right?
Pepperoni pizza.
You don't like pizza.
Shut up.
This is how you stop seeking parents in your partners. This is how you stop mistaking anxiety for intuition. This is how you stop running from the child you were and the self you're becoming. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But shadow work demands that we face it, all of it, the neglected, the ashamed, the scared, the angry, because healing isn't about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who you were before the
Pause.
world told you who."
I don't know if I like the term shadow work there. It does sound a bit like it does sound more negative. Really just coming to terms with yourself.
Yeah.
It like this is just a unrelated thing. It just feels like a bit negative as to what it actually is. This is just saying, hey, check in on yourself, make sure that you know what you're doing. But shadow work just feels a bit negative on that. So
Yeah, shadow work definitely feels like it's like dark and evil, like shadows.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Who to be. So if you're someone who grew up too fast, know this: your maturity was never the problem. The problem was that you had no choice, but now you do. You can choose softness. You can choose to rest. You can choose to stop managing everyone else's emotions and start honoring your own. And no, it won't happen overnight. There will be days you feel like a child again. Good. That's the point. Let that child come home. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them finally be seen. Because you're not broken. You're becoming whole. And maybe for the first time, you're finally growing up the right way. Not through pressure, not through fear, but through truth. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it.
Yeah, so I really, really agree with this video in quite a few aspects. Some parts it's like I'm not totally there with it, but this really does resonate with me. I don't know about you, Lawrence. How do you feel it's resonating with
Yeah. I mean, it's harder to get a proper perspective on this, but there are definitely parts of the video that I agree with quite strongly. Other parts I think could have been like worded a bit better,
you? Mm-hmm.
but yeah, overall great video. Uh, yeah,
I
it gets the
absolutely
message
agree.
across really easily.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Um, for me, I think the hardest part about this is just like remember that forgiveness is going to be hard, but you have to be able to forgive yourself and go back and relive those memories to an extent. And that is normal. It's good to relive them, but that can't be all you do. If that's all you do, then you're just screwed. That's really bad for your mental health. Anything else you'd like to say, Lawrence, before we play the outro?
Uh, I think I am good.
All right, sounds good. We're gonna edit in the outro. Yeah. See you guys later. Keep smiling.